Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
Another year and another SEC Media Days is in the books. Nick Saban, Kenyan Drake, Reggie Ragland, and Ryan Kelly from Alabama all came, they saw, and they answered a whole lot of questions from the media members gathered last week over at the Winfrey Hotel in Hoover. We're about to talk about what they had to say and let you actually hear what they had to say right now, right here on Tider Insider TV. Good evening, everybody, and welcome into another Tider Insider TV presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock. You know what, Rodney? We're changing studios again. We're in our brand new studio. And with that in mind, and I guess a lot going on, take me out of my element. I forgot to put us some Pepsis out here tonight.
I wondered where they were.
Just simply forgot, and nobody reminded me, so we're going to be thirsty. But we will tell you this. We'll have somebody maybe try to run and get us some Pepsis during the timeout because they are really good. And, well, listen, now they're going to taunt me.
BJ kept them in there
by playing the sound, yeah. You know. So maybe we'll be here for a while and we can settle in and try to get some Pepsis before the end of the show. But we appreciate Buffalo Rock sponsoring us each and every week alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I am Gary Harris. And Rod, you know, it's always fun when media days are over because that is a sign that football is inching closer and closer to actually kicking off and being played for real. And as always, the media got to make their predictions for the season and pick the all-conference teams as well. 12 Crimson Tide players were selected to the all-SEC team, 6 on the first team. As far as the predictions go, Alabama was picked to win the SEC West. Georgia was picked to win the SEC East, but I guess only in the SEC can you have neither one of those teams picked to win the conference championship. That goes to Auburn. You know, something to do with how they tallied up the votes. So here's the pick in the West. Alabama, then Auburn, LSU, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State. In the East, Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, South Carolina, Florida, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. And, of course, as I said, Auburn, though, the overall pick. The media is on a hot streak as far as it goes. They picked Alabama last year to win the conference, and they did. That's rare. Usually they miss it. As far as expectations go for the Tide this year, here's Coach Saban and Ryan Kelly talking about the upcoming season.
Well, I think it's important because we didn't do a good job last year of finishing the season, that we've talked a lot in the offseason about finishing, but we've also talked to the players a lot about hard work, better preparation, because we didn't finish the season very well. Like, you know, chopping wood and carrying water. You know, it's just hard work.
I don't want to take away from what we did last year. Last year was a great season for us, and we won the SEC championship, and it was a lot of fun for a lot of guys. The last 2 years, obviously, we haven't finished the way we want to. And one of the biggest things that we're trying to do this year is to reestablish the standard of Alabama. You know, we got enough guys on our team who won national championships in 2012. I was here in 2011 as one of the older guys on the team now. And one of the things that we have to do is when the young guys come in, we got to set the standard high for those guys. They got to know that this isn't just any other ordinary place. This is Alabama, and this is what we do.
All right, Rod, obviously at this point, predictions, and any prediction doesn't mean anything. It has to be played out on the field, and we know that you can't win the SEC championship without winning the Western Division. So obviously that one of those predictions has to be wrong, either Alabama winning the West or Auburn winning it outright. But what do you think of the media's predictions? Do you think Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia are the top 3 teams?
Yeah, I thought they were pretty conservative, actually. I mean, I think those were the popular picks, Gary, and it, you know, wouldn't surprise me if did not surprise me that that's how they kind of, as you said, tallied it up, so to speak. And I think when you look at it that, you know, those 3 teams would probably have to be the favorites and when you talk about the 3 favorites. You
know, the great thing about it, though, like I said, they played on the field. And sometimes, you know, somebody will come from way back in the pack. Look at Missouri the last 2 years. They really weren't even on the radar screen, and they wound up winning the East Division.
And some people think Tennessee this year could be the dark horse in the East. So
they were picked second in the East. And look at this. Our Pepsi Next have appeared. So we'll pop the top on that in just a moment. Right now, though, we're going to talk about recruiting. Alabama picking up a really nice commitment yesterday from a North Carolina running back. B.J. Emmons picked the Tide over Tennessee, previously had committed to Georgia, so you know he's a quality back when you've got those kind of programs involved. And, you know, running back suddenly is a priority in recruiting. This gives the Tide 2 in the class of 2016. And, Rod, this guy's a bruiser. 5'10", about 230 pounds, yet he has speed and elusiveness. your breakdown of B.J. Emmons and what he brings to the table.
Well, I think you said it right there, Gary. When you look at him, he's a big physical guy. Look the way he moves. You know, for his size, he rushed for over 2,300 yards last year, scored 38 touchdowns. A guy that's 232 pounds, can run a sub-4.5 40. I mean, I think he's got the package, Gary. When I talked to his coach yesterday, Brandon Allen, he told me, he said, the one thing that people really don't know about what he can do is he's so versatile. He's got the ability to line up in the slot and be a tremendous receiver. He can do so many different things. So that versatility, again, is a key. He can do so many different things.
Here are the numbers on Emmons, and really, you know, he had programs all over the country interested in him, offers from most of the top schools in the Southeast, but settles on Alabama. Physical kid, can run between the tackles, but as Rodney pointed out, he can also take it around the edge and turn on the speed as well. And Rodney, something that we don't see that often, particularly with a program like Alabama. Today, the Tide adding a couple of players from the state of Texas for this coming season, 2015. Xavier and Torian Marks joined the Alabama football program. Now, Xavier is a running back and kick returner, and you're going to see some flashbacks to David Palmer right here on this punt return. Now, he is going to be on scholarship, he says on Twitter. His brother, Torian, a wide receiver and defensive back that we'll see in a moment, is going to be a walk-on. Both will run track as well. They were committed to New Mexico State, didn't wind up signing. Here's Torian with a nice stick there on a fourth down play. What about these two young men? It's strange for Alabama to pick up signees this late in the year for the upcoming season.
Yeah, it really is. The last one I really remember was, what's his name that made the sack? And Eric Anders.
Yeah, Eric Anders.
He was
from Texas.
Yeah, from
that
Texas.
Worked out pretty well.
He sure was. But you look at Xavier Marks, he's a tremendous track guy, Gary. He runs a 10.3 900 meters. He's run a sub-4.4 40. You know, his father is a track and field coach, so he has a lot of experience doing that. Great speed, though he is small. He's 167 pounds at 5'9". And Torian Marks he's probably going to be a defensive back. They moved him to safety this year where he really started to blossom a little bit. There were some schools that started getting involved with him late. Houston, LSU, Mississippi State had offered. And again, he said he signed with Alabama, and that's where he felt like it was a good fit for him.
Yeah, you saw producer B.J. Milliken putting up his list today at 155, but you said you've been told that he is up to 167. Now, that's still awfully small for the SEC, but we saw where he might help early, and that is in the kick and punt return game.
Well, I think when you look at him, certainly, Gary, he is some people have compared him to an Arvin Richard type, if you remember, who used to play here. A guy that's not really big. He's under 170 pounds, but he has the ability to do so many different things. He can line up as a slot receiver. He can run the football occasionally, maybe on a sweep or reverse, but he brings a lot of things in the kick return game. He can, return punts and kickoffs and that great speed, Gary. You can't coach that. And again, Torian Marks is a guy who I think, is a special teams type guy who also could possibly end up playing some in the secondary.
Yeah, and track guys too, so they'll help there as well. Well, much more is coming up on TITV, including more from SEC Football Media Days and a look at Alabama's running back situation. A little thin going into the season. Maybe that's why they added Marks for this year's class. And I got the chance to catch up with Kenyan Drake to discuss his comeback from a gruesome leg injury a year ago. Now, he can really, really add some depth and some talent to that running back position. We'll have that one-on-one interview, and we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Make sure and stay tuned for more Tighter Insider TV coming up right after this. Welcome back, everybody. As we talked about earlier, one of Alabama's three representatives in Hoover at SEC Media Days, senior running back Kenyan Drake. Man, he's come a long way on and off the field. He's one of the Tide's most versatile players, and I was able to catch up with him and go one-on-one last week.
Indeed, I'm with Alabama senior running back. I guess we call him running back still, but he'll play a lot of different positions. Kenyan Drake. I was listening to you in the media room. You've been through so much adversity. You look up and you're a senior, but now you're being viewed as a team leader and somebody that Coach Saban asked to come represent the team at media days. That's got to mean a lot to you.
Yeah, it's definitely a humbling experience to be here, and where so many great players, not just from Alabama, but all across the SEC, come to, showcase their teams and get ready for the season. And I'm just, it's a great experience to be here.
I know you probably have done a little research. You played for Lane Kiffin last year. Everywhere he's been, Kenyan, there's been one guy that he's kind of built his offense around. Last year was Amari Cooper. This year, I know they're talking about lining you up at running back, in the slot, H-back, out wide. You may even take direct snaps. Do you think you can be that guy that Alabama kind of builds its offense around? And do you want to be?
Yeah, I definitely feel like my versatility puts me in the best position to help my team be successful. But I definitely feel like we have a lot of capable people on the team, at running back, receiver, even online, that can definitely help this team get to where we ultimately want to be at, which is win an SEC championship and win a national championship.
Lastly, I've said for the record, if Kenyan Drake doesn't get hurt in the second quarter against Ole Miss, Alabama wins that game. If he doesn't get hurt, they run the table. That's my opinion. But for you, how helpless was that feeling, being on the sidelines, hurt, not being able to help your football team win a national championship and coming up short, and how much does that motivate you for this year?
Yeah, it definitely was a helpless feeling. I had to take on a different role from being on the field and trying to lead by example by trying to go out there and be more of a motivational speaker for my teammates, because I couldn't be out there on the field for them. So I definitely really look forward to this season and helping my team, like I said, get to a national championship and ultimately win it this year.
Thank you, Kenyan.
Thank you.
Kenyan Drake, he is a man on a mission for the Crimson Tide. He's a senior. He knows this is his final go-round. He wants to go out in style.
All right, here's Drake's stat line, Rodney. He was headed a big year. Through 5 games, he already amassed 6 touchdowns through 4 full games. And, you know, we know Lane Kiffin's going to make a big play guy out of Kenyan Drake this coming season. Going to be a lot of fun to watch. Well, Rodney, let's talk about the running back position. It's our position breakdown this week. And, you know, usually depth at Alabama at that position, not even something you concern yourself with. But this year, because of injuries, transfers, suddenly depth is a concern at that position.
You remember a few years ago, they signed those 4 backs in the one class. Now 3 of them are gone. But you look at it, Gary, they do have some quality players. Obviously, Derrick Henry is kind of set for a big year. Kenyan Drake being the versatile guy. Certainly 2 of the best running backs in the country. Bo Scarborough, the freshman from here in Tuscaloosa, was really going to be counted on this year until the injury went down, but I think the rehab is going well. We just don't know when he'll be 100%. Ronnie Clark, you see him there, number 5, coming off an injury himself. And Damian Harris, the true freshman out of Kentucky, this is going to be an opportunity for him, Gary. He has to be ready because Alabama's going to need his contribution.
So behind Henry and Drake, there are some unknowns. But if 1 or 2 of those guys step up, suddenly this could once again be a deep position.
Yeah. They certainly can't afford any injuries, that's for sure. And, it's not what maybe if you looked at it a couple of years ago and everybody said Alabama was loaded at running back for years to come. It's obviously dwindled some, but they do have really quality, high quality players if they can keep everybody and get Bo Scarborough healthy.
Good analysis, Rod. Here's the outlook for the position. We've talked about it. Really, Henry and Drake, the only known commodities. Those other guys, though, hopefully will step up. And now, again, the signing today as well of Xavier Marks. Well, more to come on Tider Insider TV, including one LSU running back who says an Alabama player hit him harder than he's ever been hit in his life. And next, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Here's the information on the screen on how you can get in touch with us. 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. That's the phone number. You can email us if you would like at the address on your screen, or you can reach out to us for a question or comment on Twitter using the hashtag TiderInsiderTV. We'll be right back with the only show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, the one and the only Tider Insider TV. We'll return right after this timeout. I bet you remember this bone-crushing hit from a year ago. Reuben Foster decleating Leonard Fournette after Alabama and LSU were getting ready to go to overtime. This made sure that LSU didn't try to score before regulation was over. Apparently made an impression on the young LSU tailback as well. Fournette recalls that it was the biggest hit he's ever taken. The Heisman candidate also mentioned Landon Collins as someone who really popped him good in that game. All 3 of those guys are, really tough physical football players, but when you put Leonard Fournette on the deck like that, that was some kind of shot, Rod.
Yeah, Alabama had the momentum tying the game there, and I think that hit by Reuben Foster certainly kind of build upon that momentum. But anytime Alabama and LSU play, it's going to be a physical war.
Yeah, it's for men. Those are grown men in that game. All right, time to head to the phone lines. First up, Roger in Birmingham. Roger, welcome into the program. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Gary. How are you and Rodney?
Very well, thank you.
I was very impressed with Kenyan, Ryan, and Reggie last week as they met the media. They were very impressive speaking. The reason I'm calling, though, is the unfair practice that whoever it is that's setting up the SEC schedule every year. Since I'm retired about the end of May and the early part of June, FBSschedule.com always has everyone's schedule, and Of course, I go to Alabama and look at it and the SEC, and there are 4 teams this year that do not play anyone that has a bye, and that is Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and Mississippi. And Georgia and Florida, they do have a bye before they play each other in that big cocktail party. Auburn and Kentucky have an open date on a Saturday before they play each other on a Thursday night. And then Arkansas has an open date before they play Auburn. South Carolina, they have an open date before they play Texas A&M. And Vandy has an open date before they play South Carolina.
All right, Roger, go ahead. We're going to have to speed you along. You know.
Okay, the thing of it is Alabama, the week that they're playing Arkansas, Texas A&M has an open date.
Right.
Then when Alabama plays Texas A&M, Tennessee has an open date the following week. Then, of course, we and LSU have an open date every year before we play each other. But Mississippi State plays Missouri on a Thursday night while Alabama's playing LSU on a Saturday, and then we go play at Mississippi State, which gives them 2 extra days. But every year, Alabama is getting the shaft by whoever it is that's doing the scheduling.
Got you, Roger. We'll try to address that. First of all, you know, in a 14-team league where you play 8 conference games, the schedule is always going to be unbalanced. That's just the way it is. I know what you're saying on the open dates. Some of that is set by schools trying to finagle their schedule where they can have an open date before big games. But some of it, too, is just the conference office, you know, making out the schedules. But you know what? It is what it is. You just got to go play. I will say this year, I think Alabama's schedule on paper is as tough as any they've had in recent memory, but they've navigated through these waters before, and you know, I appreciate your point, but you know, you can't worry about it. You just got to play.
Yeah, you do have to go play, but I understand what he's saying. Was it 2009? I believe Alabama has opponents had, there were 6, I think, teams that had off dates before they played Alabama. So, you know, he's not the only one that's complained. Roger's not. There's certainly been a lot of people that have kind of noticed the same thing.
Well, you know, Alabama's a big game for a lot of places. Right. A lot of schools in this league, Alabama is a big game, and a lot of those schools are going to try to arrange their schedule the best they can within. You know, sometimes you just can't help it. Sometimes it just is what it is, and it falls where it falls. But a lot of times schools want to have an open date before they play Alabama. It's just the reality of it. It's a compliment to Alabama, Roger. And I tell you what, we are going to have to take a timeout. We're going to along on that call, but we got a couple guys on hold. We'll get to you when we come back right after this, so stay with us. We're back on TITV. More phone calls in a moment. For some basketball news, looks like Alabama's going to have a nice home-and-home series with an ACC opponent coming up. Clemson, according to reports, is on the schedule beginning this year at Clemson, and Alabama will get the return game at Coleman Coliseum after next season. All right, let's head right back to the phone lines, Rod, and our buddy Plato in Panorama. I think that's a fictional place in the state of Alabama, but he's not fiction. He's here, and he joins us now after a long wait. Hey, Plato, what's up?
Hey, guys. Regarding the regulations on the graduate transfer players, I'm aware that they will count against our 85 total scholarship limit, but it was my impression that they did not count against the annual 25. And can you clear that up for me, please?
I think that is correct. I think he's correct on that.
Yeah, counts against the 85 Plato, but does not count against the 25 that you can sign each year.
Okay, so our transfer receiver from Oregon State will not be counted as an initial.
No, he's on this year's team.
He was already an initial. Yeah. He already counted as an initial when he signed with Oregon State.
So he won't count against 2016 at all. You're right.
Hey, thank y'all so much.
Yes, sir. All right, let's stay here in Tuscaloosa and talk to CB. Hey, CB, what's going on? CB, you with us or you leave us? CB must have got tired of staying on hold, but he wanted to know about scholarships left for 2016, Rod.
For 2016, well, they have, 18 committed? Mm-hmm. I think they'll sign 27, 28, so they've got 9 or 10. CB, I think, as we always see, you have to be careful because some of the guys that are currently committed, you usually have some juggling going on, so there could be a little bit of a change there. Gary, we'll see, but right now it looks like 9 or 10. All
right, I got an email that we're going to take right now. Which Alabama wide receiver could have a breakout year without Amari Cooper, John, and Hoover? And, yeah, there's opportunities there at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I really think Ardarius Stewart, Gary, is a guy to watch for the future. I think he's going to be a tremendous player. young sophomore.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is, A-Day. Young sophomore out of Fultondale. I think obviously Robert Foster's a guy that was extremely highly recruited. Everybody's been waiting for him to blossom. I think keep an eye on him, number 8. And I tell you, a guy that you had your one-on-one with him, Gary. He's a running back, but I think he can have a big year catching the football. That's Kenyan Drake.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, you can tell I'm excited about Kenyan Drake watching that interview, but I just want to see how many different places he's going to line up this year, Rod.
Yeah, and I know a lot of Alabama fans are really excited about seeing the young freshman Calvin Ridley, who supposedly is doing really well in 7-on-7 so far, so he'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think you could see Drake out wide, in the slot, at the H-back, in the backfield, possibly taking a direct snap. I mean, possibly tight end. I mean, you could just put him just about anywhere on the field. He is a matchup nightmare. All right, thanks for your calls. And if you couldn't get through, try again next week also for the email. We're coming back to wrap up the show in just a moment. So you stay with us. Look at that. That's a pretty shot right there in Tuscaloosa. Sun breaking through the clouds. Stay with us. Part of SEC Media Days is you're going to get to see celebrities, but we never thought we'd run into a legend like this. This fan dressed as his favorite coach, you know who it is. He strikes a resemblance to Bear Bryant in more ways than just the hat. B.J. Milliken caught up with him.
Right, I look like I've been dead 20 years.
4th and 1, national championship on the line. Do you run or do you pass?
We run. Always run.
Run every time.
Give me 4 yards of play and I'll make it every time.
He does understand Alabama football under Bear Bryant.
He sure does. He certainly does resemble him. Now, the voice, not quite.
No, but just from a distance with that hat pulled down and that little play sheet rolled up in his hand, I tell you what, SEC Media Day, something else, huh?
Only in Alabama.
All right, if you've missed any of tonight's show, a reminder you can catch the replay tonight at 10:30, or you can catch up with it on our website, WVUA23.com, anytime. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.